Good afternoon, everyone. This is Freddie Gillespie, Chair of the 21 Highland Future Use Committee. And having a quorum of the committee, we're going to start the meeting. It's being recorded. And I'd like to, our first agenda item is draft report for Select Board. I'd like Kristen to go through. You're sharing your screen, Kristen, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so you can scroll down and people can weigh in on any edits they have. And
Yep.
and then we'll discuss them as they come up. But see if I can do this because I have mine on a screen, if I can get them both on the same page. Yeah, I'm not sure I can.
Just for background, I took this format from the St. Mark's Park Committee or whatever they were called. Theirs was much more in depth because it was, just a different committee and they'd had, 18 meetings by that point. But
This is a preliminary, right?
Yeah. And
So
this is the format they used for their interim report. I mean, they had more different sections, but that's where I got it in case anyone was wondering.
Okay, thank you. So do you want to start? I'm sorry, my problem is, did I just lose Zoom?
Nope,
Sorry.
you're
No,
here.
we have you.
I just can't find it. So I have my edits on my computer, and I don't seem to be able to keep that up along with yours as well. So why don't you start going through it, and should people just jump in when they have an edit on or a comment on a section?
Sure. I mean, versus reading, I'll just kind of highlight a particular section, right? So background and committee charge, I've got a section highlighted in gray. Are there any edits?
Yeah, I have some.
Okay.
Oh boy, didn't stay here. It doesn't mention, which is confusing, that we asked to be extended. Should that be in here? Because when you get down to the background, the committee's charge shall expire on June 30th, 2025. Originally, we expired December 30th, 2024, I believe.
Well, they updated it on the website.
So we don't need to mention that was part of what we went through.
And part of the reason for that, Freddie, is because do we want to go into the whole, to the point of, who really delayed us getting together, the select board or us? You could argue it either way because it took some time.
I wasn't trying to argue anything, just saying it's not necessary, then we can move on. I just was bringing it up for everyone.
I don't think so, but
I don't think so either.
So again, on this first paragraph, again, highlighted in gray, any edits?
Not for me. Nope.
Okay.
I can't.
So I'm still on page 1, Freddie.
Okay, thank you. Yep, no.
And then I just enter, I added our names versus having a whole nother section of, who we are. I just added our names next to the members. The rest, the board, the charge, starting on page 1 and extending to page 2, is in quotations. So that's directly from the South Row page. I do a conversation for another time, but we really do need to revise that first. They have an opening paragraph that's incredibly misleading to anyone who would maybe go out there for the first time in terms of how they characterize the building. So I do think we should, at some point soon, try to get that updated, but discussion for another day.
I also say number 6 is a discussion for another day. The last sentence.
Oh, yeah, right. That's not even factually correct, but I kind of addressed that later. I tried to make a point and we'll get to that. So again, the following interim report captures discussions to date, focus on the current state analysis of the property and the plan to identify potential uses and recommendations in the allotted time frame. I went ahead and added these dependencies and assumptions, I think, because we want to make it clear we're unbiased. and all the things we are taking into consideration. So Destin, kind of the point you and I talked about, like we have been talking about real things. And so I thought some of these guardrails, I guess, that we've established would be helpful. So does anyone disagree with this section in general? Or
I
are we
have
good?
one,
No,
I have
I
one
thought it was
edit,
great.
one edit on number C.
Okay, well, why don't we go one by one? So
Okay.
any edits?
Nope.
Okay. B, any edits?
Nope.
And I'm purposely sticking in there because Freddie, I think it was you or maybe Kevin at the last meeting made a good point that just calling it 21 Highland Street really is, it doesn't, people don't know it. But you say formerly the South Union School Arts and Community Center, now the Rec Center, like that's how they know it. So I'm trying to make that point.
Yeah.
C?
Yeah, I have a question. I want a point. So when we first were discussing it, we thought the May 10th special town meeting would be the vote on the Neary School. But we've heard that even if it fails, that there will be a ballot question on the May 13th town election. So that should be our deadline instead of the special town meeting, because it can win or fail there, but it could still be going over. And we won't know until May 13th if the project is, the school is definitely a move ahead or not. And then even if it passes the May 13th, I think there's another town meeting required, but at least if it didn't pass both, we would know that. But you won't know that if it just doesn't pass the special. And, you know, if it passes the special and fails at the May 13th, then, you know, that's a whole nother game. So I think we use the May 13th date, if anyone.
Yep. So Freddie, yeah, so I don't know if you can see it, but what Kristen put in was the final report by the committee will take into consideration the town's vote at the May 10th special town meeting and or the May 13th ballot question regarding the proposed Neary School project.
That's not in the
No,
report.
I just
got.
added that. I added that based on your comment.
Okay. Yep, that's good. I can't see what's on the screen. I can just see what's on my
Yeah.
paper.
No problem.
I had
Um,
I
Can
had
I
a,
make, sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
the only comment I was going to make about this paragraph is that it's beyond our brief, to be honest with you. And I just don't know if it's it puts us in the position of predicting other dominoes or responding to them, and that has well factored into our thinking, to be sure. But I'm not sure if we necessarily want to codify it in this way, because I'm not sure it's going to be well received if it looks like we're, you know, I just don't, I'm not sure what to make of it, I guess. I'm a little uncertain on the point. I, I, I think it puts us, you know, again, making judgments about larger space considerations in the town. We're in a very difficult position, to be sure, because we're being asked to make a recommendation on this building, and we can't make it in the dark. But yet, if we assert that we're taking these kinds of things, town votes on school projects that have nothing to do with our brief, into consideration, I'm just not sure how well received that necessarily would be, but I defer to the will of the majority here. So that's just my thought. I mean, the way I took it, Kevin, was that this is just a fact that the two are inexplicably linked. We know that the town's space needs and considerations are going to dramatically be affected by that decision. And so for us as a committee to make an informed decision about the South Union School, we have to know what's going on with that. And I think it's just a fact. I don't know that it would be. Yeah, I don't know, for instance, how our recommendation would be altered by whether the school project passes or fails.
So Kevin, from my perspective, we're being told that the recreation would be moved to Finn's school. That's a big difference, that the building won't have recreation in the building, the recreation department, but if there's no Finn school availability because it's still a school, the assumption for me would be that recreation's staying put until the town comes up with another proposal, right?
Right, understood. Again, I'd go with the majority here on this. So, whatever the rest
So
of you,
are you suggesting we just take out?
I think it's a possibility simply to not comment on that particular issue. Um,
I mean, I think
again,
given that our last discussion at the last meeting had so much to do with grabbing what reports we could and generating information on the town's space needs.
right. I think
This
what,
is a big part of that.
we could just make a kind of general statement that, that our work is made considerably more difficult and challenging by the fact that the space needs in the town are in, quite considerable flux right now, and there is a lot riding on a series of dominoes that may or may not fall pursuant to the result of the vote on the school, and leave it at that. But again, I defer to the rest of you on this point. I don't feel all that strongly one way or another. I just, again, I don't want to be perceived that we're overreaching our brief.
Yeah, and Lisa will see what you have to say. I think when writing this, I was also thinking this isn't just for the select board. And some of those things that we're clearly aware of, other people may not be. And we are collecting and actually this is a question to all of you. We're not just collecting potential uses, but are we not coming up with a final recommendation? And would that recommendation not be different based on whether or not, to Freddie's point, rec has a home or doesn't or whatever?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm okay with it if you guys want to go forward with it.
Lisa, what do you think?
I don't have a strong opinion either way. I do think we've spent a lot of time talking about, as Destin said, we've spent a lot of time talking about what ifs. And Kevin, I know they didn't ask us to consider that specifically in the charge, but I think it's where it's something we talked about, and I think it's worded that we're just taking it into consideration. We're not saying what level of consideration. So I don't have a strong opinion one way or another. I'm fine with leaving it the way it is, because I think it ties into anybody reading our minutes is going to see that we've had these discussions as well.
May I suggest
I'm
Kevin's
just going to
point?
say that's a fair point, Lisa, and you've won me over.
I was going to suggest we could take C out.
No, I think I would be, I wouldn't support that. I think it should stay in.
Okay. I just think the B says what we're trying to say without putting the exact deadline dates in it, which gets a little more nitty gritty.
No, I like what Kristen said. I mean, this isn't just, it's a report to the select board, but it's a public document. And, this is in large part to inform, Southborough citizens of what we've been up to. So.
Okay. All right. So it stays in, and you changed it to,
And or the May 13th ballot question.
yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Can I add just one thing? So, and I meant to do this at the beginning of the meeting and I didn't. Kristen, I just wanted to thank you for all the time and effort you put into this. I think this is really a tremendous document, and I think you gave us a huge starting point. So I just wanted to thank you on behalf of all of us, because this is really great.
Oh, thank you. And I apologize for getting it to you Monday and not Friday, not giving much time for a review.
It's
Well, thank you.
It's wonderful, Kristen.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate
think
that.
So you're on D now.
D.
I have an issue with Roman numeral 4. I think it should just say sale. We're not, I mean, we can address that in the discussion, but
Sure.
a sale to for profit, not profit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, does that make sense to everyone else?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
E,
I have an issue with number 2, Roman numeral.
okay,
I think I'd like added, whether there are standalone additional Roman numerals or added here, open space and recreation use of evaluation.
should it all be just one? Does anyone have a preference?
I think, uh, I think it should be a separate item. So we just add an additional Roman numeral under it.
That would
And
be
it might be best.
2 Roman numerals then. Each one gets their own.
Well, I was going to suggest that we use the wording that's in the charge.
Hmm,
That we look at the, I forget how to put it, that the, where was it? Yeah, that we just sort of generally refer to that because they're talking about the sledding hill, the playground, and that stuff.
You might say on that added Roman numeral, open space and recreational opportunities evaluation.
Yeah.
Something of that sort.
Yeah. I'm not convinced opportunities. There is,
Recreational.
you're
Yeah.
saying historical significance evaluation. In my role as an open space commissioner, I am saying the open space value and the recreation values are a significance evaluation. It's not opportunities. There's existing value there now.
yeah, and I'm
So what-
working,
Yeah, just change usage assessment to evaluation, Kristen. How about open space and recreational evaluation?
I'm good with that.
I'm just, again, open space and recreation are not always the same thing, as long as you're aware of that.
Well, you can separate it into another Roman numeral if you like.
That's what I suggested.
Okay.
I mean, why it's significant is we have a representative from the Recreation Commission and the Open Space Commission and Historical. So in that way, it
Yeah,
indicates the select
Yeah.
board thought those 3
Mhm.
areas were significant.
Yeah, that works. So Freddie, what we've got now is historical significance evaluation, open space evaluation, and recreational evaluation.
Do we want to
Right.
be consistent in saying, historical significance? Do we want to say open space significance, recreation significance?
I would.
Okay. Just again for consistency.
and that is fair to separate it because I'm working with Travis on that analysis, so it will stand kind of on its own.
Yeah, no, and it has that symmetry with the members of the committee. I like that.
Yeah,
Mhm,
agree.
mhm. Yeah, so we should be commenting on each of those areas in a separate
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, that's a good addition, Fred.
So now we're down to 3. If
Any
no
other-
one has anything else.
Yeah,
Nope, so we're on 3 now.
yeah. So paragraph 1 under 3, any comments?
I'm good.
All good.
Nothing from me.
Right. Paragraph 2, starting with during the November 18th committee
I'm
meeting.
fine with that one.
Same here.
I want to be like careful because I want to include it, but I want to like throw John under the, under the bus. So
Yeah. No, that's fine. This is directly from his visit with us and the minutes that we took. For the bullets, I just have one comment. John made it, we asked him specifically about whether the building was up to code, because there was sort of an implication in our charge that we were supposed to analyze what it would take to bring the building up to code. And I think it's important for us to indicate, maybe in a separate bullet or wherever it's important, wherever it works best, that the building is currently up to code in all ways.
So I had the conversation with the is it building inspector?
Mm-hmm.
About code, and it is, and I think what John said, it was up to code for the current use.
Right. Right.
So when I asked the building inspector about what it would take to bring it up to code for other uses, there is no generic, if this, then that is needed,
Right.
It depends on the specific, like any building that changes use would have to be looked at. So
Yes, no, absolutely. So I think we should put, yeah, it's currently up to code for its existing use case or whatever it is. I want to avoid the optics of any kind that this building is not up to code, because that sort of implies that there's a lot of structural work that would have to be done to it, even in its current state for its current use, and that's not the case. It is up to code for its current use.
Right. So I don't want to open up like questions like, well, for the current use, but not other use. But I also don't want to leave it open that we're not aware that for other uses, there may be some codes that need, like if you have a restaurant there, you need more bathrooms, let's say.
Oh, right. But I
You
think that's implied. I mean, I don't think there's I would hate to think there's anybody that would read this that would go, well, obviously if it turns into a restaurant, it would need a lot of change. Well, of course, right? But
So my
I think
question
it's
is,
important for us to state that it's currently up to code.
do we want to add current or just say it's up to code?
Well, Freddie, I don't know if you can see, Kristen wrote for its current use, the building is up to code based on current regulations.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like current building regulations. Like what are the codes we're up to?
Yeah, no,
Building
that's fine. Yeah,
regulations.
current building regulations. Yeah, which is an important point to make, that it's not up to code or grandfathered. It's actually up to current code. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would add building there, Kristen. Building regulation.
And I might argue that, because I like the first bullet point you had there before, I would argue just to put this one second. It's in support of the first one. Yeah. Yep.
I almost wonder if it should go after the CPA funds, because it's saying, look, we've done all this work.
What did you just say?
Like we highlight the investments that have been made, and therefore the building is now up to code. We fixed the elevator, done the maintenance.
I like
Yeah,
that.
so Freddie, it's currently listed as a new bullet point 3 right after CPA funds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that flows well.
I just heard new CPA funds and thought you were adding new CPA funds.
No.
So, okay.
Yeah, I think this summarizes really well what John took us through.
I'm good with the rest.
Ready?
Yeah.
Kevin, you good?
Yeah, good for me. I think this is arguably the most important section of the document. It's very well done, Kristen. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, I'll clean up any formatting after we drop it. Let's see. So section 4, data collection.
This is actually the only place where I had just a couple of minor.
Yeah, this was the one I was a little bit. So
Yeah.
that.
Just very, very minor, just so the nomenclature's right, and clarifying edits. On the first bullet, Kristen, can we just write out what the macros is first? It's before, and you can put macros in parentheses, so this is the acronym. But before, I would write Massachusetts cultural, capitalize all the, capitalize the C, cultural capital resource.
Oops. Does anyone else have trouble typing?
Information system. And then after the parenthetical macros, report on South Union School, because that's, you can lowercase the report.
Got it.
Sorry, report on, South Union School. Perfect.
Thank you.
And then on the National Register reports bullet, it would be National Register instead of registry, TER, yep, of historic places, registration form, capitalize that, yep, registration form for South Union School. That's the correct name of the document. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And then my last thing is that I had brought this up, and that's why you put it there. But I went back and looked at Kate Madison's old website, and there's really nothing there of substance actually on South Union that isn't in the Macros and National Register reports. Most of the data on her website actually pertains to the Peters School and the annex. Yeah, so I've just cut it. That's great. That's all I had there. Thank you.
Just so
Thank
everybody,
you.
sorry, just so everybody knows, the Macros report and the National Register of Historic Places registration form, those were have been on the website for almost a week now. Hassan was kind enough to get those up right away. And the 21 Highland report of the Shopsy Capital Committee, that's already on there. So if everyone's in agreement, I don't know if everyone had a chance to look through the space needs study. If everyone is fine, I'll have them put that one up there tomorrow.
I'm fine with that one. I thought it was
Fine.
well
Yeah,
done.
Clem said it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take
That's
care of that
great.
tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa.
And if we're
Thanks,
going
Lisa.
back to that's under the committees also in the process. Is that where we are on the document?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you're moving the master space plan up to above, we're also in the process, correct?
Well, are they the same thing?
Lisa,
Because
is that the
we were
plan you
kind
were
of-
talking about?
No, the one we had done was the space, it was actually called the space needs study.
Okay,
So I don't know what the master plan space, the master space plan with current town footprint. I think you're right, Freddie. I think that's probably the same thing.
who mentioned that? Why is it here?
So we talked about last time, we're like, we have a master plan committee. Do we have in a master space and like, do we have anything that even shows what our current town footprint is to take into consideration? So maybe that's in that, I glanced at the presentation and read through it. Is there anything that shows us, where everyone is right now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll take it out.
So I have an addition here.
Okay.
I don't want to be limited to just this, so that we are still looking for any other relevant existing reports. I don't know how to phrase that better, but I thought it would be worthwhile to mention that as our work proceeds, there may be other reports that come up.
Yeah, so Freddie, Kristen added a bullet point for other relevant reports if available.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for telling me what she's adding, because I really
Sure.
can't see it, sorry.
And I just said the following pieces of data with additions possible.
However you identify it, that's fine with me.
Okay, so moving on to Q1, Q2 timeline and public forums. So we'll just start with the first paragraph.
Nothing from me.
So
Looks
are we
good
at
to
the
me.
bullet points yet?
Yes.
So prior to the April 7th annual town meeting, you have two. I don't think we want to say that we're going to have the PowerPoint for inclusion in the public forums.
Okay.
Prior to April 7th.
Oh, gotcha.
We may, but I'm always, if we don't need a deadline, a date specific deadline, why put us under the gun? And then if you don't come through for some reason, we're going to be getting we may be doing a lot of other work. The PowerPoint is for a public forum, correct? And we and it may not be a big PowerPoint, we haven't decided that, but that public forum isn't until maybe much later, so why put that pressure on us?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Others?
Yeah, that's fine.
So you could just have it be a FAQ sheet for handout on tables at annual town meeting.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You don't have to have the bullet point above it.
Mhm.
Okay.
But obviously, I started thinking through the timelines as I was doing this, and I'm like, are we really, if we're saying we're going to consider every need brought forward, are we giving ourselves enough time if we don't have a public forum until after the May special town meeting and then our reports due?
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, how can you have a PowerPoint?
Oh, no, I agree with the PowerPoint. This is separate from that.
Okay.
Last time we met, I had captured that we said, oh, okay, we'll get through the town meetings and then we'll do our public forum and solicit ideas, but that doesn't seem to allow enough time really for us to really dig into ideas.
Well, so we have the April 7th annual town meeting.
Mhm.
Then we have public tours in April and May, right?
Yep.
And you're saying public forum, your confusion is a public forum. So don't tie it to anything. We still have time to figure out the best date.
Okay.
A public forum, date to be confirmed. Don't say early March, because we're in early March already, right?
Should we put ourselves under the gun though? Because things are gonna stack up quickly.
Well, I think saying after the public forum post April 7th annual town meeting, and we can put the trigger on the gun for ourselves without having stated when we're going to do that.
Yeah, because I think the biggest consideration there is that, and I think we talked about this before, is that we will get the most valuable public input after that decision is known.
True.
I agree though, Kristen, that we probably don't want to wait too long because we need to be able to assimilate that feedback toward making our recommendations. So the sooner we can get to it after we know that decision, the better. That way we can have a full conversation with the public.
Yeah, and this goes into something else I want to change, which is what is informing my comments, right? We had talked about having, and this is what you highlighted, Kristen. Can I go to that?
Yeah.
We had talked about having the report, our recommendations done, so we can supply them to the selectmen, so we can have feedback back and forth, right? And I'm going to say, but our recommendations are our recommendations. The selectmen will be invited to give their input to us before we finalize our report by attending any of the public input, the forums or the tours or whatever else we do. So I don't know that we need to have a month of back and forth with the select board on our own recommendations. How is that going to change anything? So that actually gives us from the May 13th election to the end of June to finalize our recommendations, which means having a public forum after the May town meeting has more time reasonableness to it than if we were trying to get a report done by the end of May. I just don't see how you invite the public to come in and give their input when they still don't know whether we have Finn's School available in a few years for moving town space needs, or if you still need some of those needs at 21 Highland.
Mhm.
Just
Right, yeah. So the
consideration.
public forum would be after the town meeting and or ballot. And I agree with you, Freddie. I think that when we have the public forum, that's the opportunity for the select board to attend and to listen and or give us feedback as part of our process.
And we will be getting public input at the tour as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like we're just going to show them around and we're not going to be, we can
Right.
even set it up to, have people come sit down and ask us questions, or have have us board with stickies that they can put any questions or concerns they want us to think about.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I mean, we not set it up as a public forum, but, looking forward, do you have ideas or concerns you want us to be considering?
That makes sense to me.
And that means we're not isolating just one public forum. We'll be getting input throughout.
So this revised version looks good to me.
Me as well.
I just left mine because that was the end of my edits.
Just a quick question, and I'm not sure if this is me or somehow, but it looks like someone might have joined, and I just want to see if anyone in the public has questions.
One attendee, no hand raised.
Okay. Sorry, Freddie, that's your job.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I just went over to the screen.
Yeah.
So I wasn't aware.
Freddie, can I ask that, I know there's a couple other things on the agenda. If we can't do those quickly, can I ask that we table them? We have to be at the, I have another meeting at 6:30 and we've got to get up and try to figure out the.
Well, before we do that,
Yeah,
do we need to vote on this, or are we just in consensus that this will be sent to the selectmen?
I think we can vote on it.
I think we can vote on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Make
is
it
there,
official.
so before we move on to anything else, is there a motion on the table?
Yeah,
I'll
motion.
move that we approve. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
No, please, Dustin, I defer. Go ahead.
I'll move that we approve this draft as edited for submission to the select board as our interim report.
Is there a
Second.
second
Second.
by Kevin? All in favor? We're Zoom, so I'll do a roll call. Destin,
Aye.
Lisa Braccio,
Yes.
Kristen Laval,
Yes.
Kevin Miller,
Aye.
Freddie Gillespie, aye. So I will have Kristen send that to me, and as our clerk, can you send it to them, or shall?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, on behalf of the committee.
Yeah,
we
I'll
voted.
CC. I'll CC everyone. We can do
Okay.
that, right?
All right,
Yeah.
thank you. And I believe the next agenda item is chair report, and I have nothing to report at this time. Set next meeting date, I think we can do that best by email after this meeting when everyone has time to look at their calendars. So is there another agenda? Is there another motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Kevin. Is there a second?
Second.
I don't know who got that.
Destin.
Destin. All right. Roll call. Destin,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Kristen,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
and Freddie. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you all for squeezing this in. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Go
Kristen.
Bye.
team.